After that, January 9th, on January 9th, Maine passed LD 718, and that is making disclosure of GMOs in food and feed required. Following that, January 17th in Hawaii, SB 2736 was introduced, and it will become effective January 2015. April of this year, Vermont passed, I'm sorry, I don't have the bill number, but they passed it, and the next step is going to the governor, and we need the governor to sign it. Last but not least, since we're in New York's Assembly passed the A3525 GMO labeling bill. This was pushed by our Assemblywoman, Linda Rosenthal. She did a great job. Now, this bill is going to go into Albany. That's what our Albany action is about. We want to be there when people are going to sign the bill. We want to be there and let them know that we, the people of New York, we want them to sign this bill. And we're going to be heard. So you already heard about the actions that it's going to be in September. I don't know what date, but okay, here's the segue. We now have a website, and all the event information is going to be on there. So if you want to follow what we're doing, you can go to marchagainstmonsanto.nyc.org, and we have like a volunteer form. We have an email subscription thingy. We're going to have an events. We have an events page. We'll have all the information there. And of course, we have a donate button. So if anybody wants to donate, please do. We also have the action going to Brooklyn, so we're trying to get a lot of things going. And that's it. Thank you very much. And now I'm okay, next up is going to be Martha, one of our team members, and she's going to read to you. Thank you.
I'm speaking to you just because I'm every person that's here. I'm a mom who attended rallies a couple of times and then just kind of stepped into it a little bit more. Don't know how to speak.
Speak, girl. It's okay.
Thank you. Right on. So, and this is kind of like my brand of activism. I dress like this so that we can approach our children and it's not a scary thing for them, and they can understand that we're out here for them and that we're out here to try to make things a little bit easier and a little bit better. I find it pretty overwhelming and kind of sickening that Monsanto is infiltrating every country at every level of food architecture. Whether it be seed patents, purchasing support to further their business agenda through acquiring companies such as Blackwater, like Jamie's going to read from Tammy, the deep roots that they share within our government, acquiring companies that seemingly oppose them, like Biologics, and then even now, while they're switching their tactics to get into organics. How many of you know that? Monsanto is actually working to get into the organic food industry. Yeah. So they're switching faces as we turn the corner. They're switching faces. It's pretty daunting. If you think about it, in India, over 300,000 farmers ended their lives from 1995 to 2013 because the cotton didn't yield the crops that they were promised. These people drank the poison that they were using on their fields from Monsanto. There's a really great quote from Dr. Vandana Shiva that kind of stuck with me. Control over seed is the first link in the food chain because seed is the source of life. When a corporation controls seed, it controls life, especially the life of farmers. So that leaves me wondering what I can do, because clearly Monsanto is actively working against the best interests of everyday people, and they seem pretty unstoppable. So I'm going to take a step back with you all, and this is why kind of look at my fight against Monsanto. I have a boy, he's 20 now, but he's very likely on the spectrum, and he's highly sensitive to foods. When he was in 4th grade, I came to a class party and I found that his desk was stuck behind a door in front of the classroom. The 24-year-old teacher said he was constantly disruptive and she couldn't handle him. She didn't know what to do, nor did she talk to me about it, and it really blew me away. Through the holiday break, I began to educate myself about ADHD and the possible causes. diet being the significant contributor. I pulled my son from the school, brought him to a charter school that served vegetarian meals that were organic as often as possible, and I continued to educate myself in 2004. But I was really overwhelmed then. As the years have gone by and I've watched my son, he's continued to adapt, but to constant negative reinforcement. And as he grew, we suffered a near ultimate price as he sought to stabilize. In other words, self-medicate and overdose. I'll leave it at that, but I'm heartbroken that similar and countless numbers of children experience food reactions. They're socially shunned, or they're never able to fully realize the potential of who they actually are because they're stuck in a chemical fog. And that's just only one of the health epidemics that we've grown to accept and medicate with big pharma cures. So through my efforts of trying to peel back what was wrong, hands gotta go, sorry. I found many issues with Monsanto, and most of us here may probably have that in common. I fight to label because it's beyond absurd to me that the voices of the people can't influence our government to do the right thing. And of course I know why. It's because of more profits. I'm beginning to wonder if food and water are destined to become the currency of our world versus paper money and precious metal. Because we all have to eat and drink, right? And Monsanto, with the help of Bill Gates, is right there, acquiring the resources to make that happen. A food dependency and financial monopoly over our basic human rights. Profit before people is a term that I've read recently. I don't know that it's too far-fetched to see that our country has an agenda to further its power through global food supply, to stop Monsanto and the legislation that's being done in secret, promising to safeguard Monsanto's evolution. And yeah, I really worry, and I get very, very overwhelmed. Then I watched people come together and raise their concerns and protest, and I kept showing up. I watched last year as 50 countries came together to unite in global protest at over 450 events attended by 2 million people. And I was overwhelmed again, but this time with joy, right? I watched Monsanto's stock plunge. I watched Monsanto scramble to fight bad public relation. And though they pack an expensive punch, countries are banning Monsanto products outright. And I don't know if you guys know it, but 2 counties in Oregon this week banned GMOs. So, there you go, USA, man. So the fight against Monsanto is as organic as the food that we seek to save. It's not going to come prepackaged, people. It's not those other people. It's all of us. So what can we do? So I keep showing up at Monsanto protest events, and I learned that my food source doesn't have to come from a grocery store. I found farmers who hold organic sacred, and I buy from them, because my dollar can pack a punch too. I learned that I can grow my own food, I can work with others in my neighborhood to share amongst ourselves, and I can help keep costs down. And this year, I stepped inside to both donate my time and lend a hand with the organization behind the march, as well as a little fiscal assistance with getting our flyers, our buttons, and whatnot done. So the first year, there was a rally to show the people that others felt like they did. We're all out there. The next marches went straight for Monsanto on a global scale that I mentioned to you before. And how exciting was that to have 2 million people stand up and demand change? It's good. So this year, we want to have these people reflect on what has changed, to feel empowered by their efforts, and to break into groups to discuss and share what we've all been doing. Together we can cross-pollinate and scatter our ideas and support. We don't have to keep buying chemically saturated, over-processed food while we keep fighting. We can take back our health and our freedom from a toxic plutocracy, literally one bite at a time. The power of social media is a force of unification that brings me hope that we can keep working to further the cause, to educate and to help those who share the goal. And that seems to me to be more manageable than trying to fell the system overnight. I hope that tonight, that we walk, from today, that we walk away from this march with a collective sense of hope and resolve to take one more step towards food justice and liberation. Thanks, everybody. Each and every individual can affect this change in the most crucial time of need. I appreciate it. Thank you.